Hey YouTube, well it's not every day that you have two very similar cars side by side right next to each other and pretty much the exact same paint color at that. Right here obviously we have the 2015 Toyota 4Runner Limited, and off to the side here we have the loaner car, the 2015 GX 460 in Starfire Pearl. You guys have probably seen the review which is already published on this, but I thought what better to do than a comparison between two similar cars. You can see kind of the profile difference here. The GX has a longer nose. And coming to the back, you can kind of see that the 4Runner has a greater rear overhang. Let me kind of stand up here so you can see kind of the differences in car profiles. We'll go over to the side here so you can see. And I'll point out many of the key differences within the two cars. You can kind of see the 4Runner has kind of a longer rear overhang. So we'll go ahead and do a startup of each. Show you the difference. Obviously inside, I mean, you guys have seen all about the 4Runner. The 4Runner is definitely a more utilitarian kind of theme to it with luxurious accents, where the GX is clearly more luxurious or luxury oriented. So put the foot on the brake, engine start button. You can hear the 4-liter V6. So coming under the hood, obviously this one has the 4-liter V6 with about 268 horsepower, and you guys know the specs, and I'll put those in the annotations. But it's roughly about 40 horsepower less than the GX with its 4.6-liter V8. So we'll go ahead and move on over to you can hear the way the hood shuts here as compared to when I shut it on the GX. So we'll go ahead and turn off the 4Runner. And moving on over to it. Obviously you can tell with all the wooden padded accenting, it's clearly a different animal. But getting in is actually easier, and you do have the standard running boards. Put your foot on the brake, engine start button of course. I mean, you can automatically hear that difference. Oh. So coming under the hood on this one, you can see it's got the 4.6-liter V8, 301 horsepower. This one's obviously full-time four-wheel drive as every GX is, and we have a rear-wheel drive 4Runner, and that's not available on the GX. So there's a pretty substantial difference in the drivetrain there. And you can see the LED accenting. Obviously the front end on the GX is a little more prominent and a little more stately looking with the LED headlights and the LED accenting as compared to the halogen projector beams. Although interestingly, the 4Runner has 20-inch wheels and the GX has these 18s, which are still good looking, but it's just interesting that the mainstream brand has bigger wheels and tires. One thing I do want to point out is that the side view mirrors on the GX are much larger, and they feature blind spot monitoring, where the 4Runner actually features this smaller design with the without blind spot monitoring. So climbing inside, there's a nice big horsefly. That is awesome. I don't know how to get rid of that. Great. You obviously have the much bigger screen here. One thing I do like about the GX is it has the hard key buttons here for the climate control versus the GX where you have to hit climate first and then you can do your fan speed, which I know is a first world problem, but hey, it's worth mentioning. So we'll go ahead and shut this one down. And one thing I want to point out on the rear of each of these vehicles, I'll leave that door open so the horsefly can get out, but let's turn off that chime. If you come around to the back, the GX obviously has the door that opens to the side, whereas if you go over to the 4Runner, it has the rear opening hatch design. But if you take a look inside, take a good look at that second row here in the 4Runner. Sorry for all the stuff in the back. But if you come over to the GX, this rear seat is pretty much the exact same. You have the exact same setup in the seats with the way they fold up. Very similar here design. Space-wise is pretty much the exact same in terms of cargo space and third row space. You can even see how there's the lip here on the GX. And you have that exact same lip right here on the 4Runner. It's very interesting to note. Obviously there's no power hatch here, and obviously no power hatch here, with this being a side opening door. But one thing you will know, or will see, is that the GX has a lot more vertical space. It's a much taller opening, which allows you to slide items in, but it also provides for much more headroom and a more open and airy cabin experience, especially with this lighter fabric versus on the 4Runner. All of them have a black cargo area, and it's kind of a darker, and even though you have a tan headliner, it's kind of a darker and more claustrophobic environment. It's not nearly as open and airy. You can see on the headroom area there. And I will note on the headliner, this is more of a paper towel. I mean, it's still high quality and fit and finish is excellent on both vehicles, but the 4Runner has more of a rougher material, whereas obviously the Lexus has this fancy suede. But closing the door, obviously super simple there, and super simple here. But if you come to the second row, you'll note that the way the seats are designed here in the 4Runner is very similar to the way the seats are designed here in the GX. Obviously the GX offers a third zone climate, which is unavailable on the 4Runner, but the seats are very similar in the way they operate here with recline and slide adjusting. Again, over here you have your recline and slide adjusting, and you will note that the center armrest is the exact same in both vehicles. Exact same. So if this horsefly is gone, well, we can check out here with the doors open the difference in paints. Obviously you can see that this is the Blizzard Pearl on the 4Runner, and this is the Starfire Pearl on the GX. So you can see this is more of a whiter white. Well, they're both pearlescent, but you can see this is more of a dull white as compared to this pearl white. But if you come, and we can check out, and I think our horsefly friend is gone. So with that, I think these are just a few key differences on the interior. You can see the GX obviously actually offers power folding mirrors, which are unavailable on the 4Runner. But with that is kind of a quick comparison between the differences between two very similar vehicles. MSRP on this one was approximately $44,000, and MSRP on this one is approximately $10,000. I mean, $10,000 more at $54,000. So what does that give you? Essentially, you get the full-time four-wheel drive, you get the luxury the Lexus has, and you get that 4.6-liter V8, which is a huge selling point. And you get kind of you can see the roof profiles. That one is taller. That one's a more streamlined box appearance. This one kind of looks a little interesting from some angles. It looks kind of tall and unordinary, but it does provide you more headroom and more space. So that's what you get when you cross-shop a 4Runner Limited and a GX Premium. Thanks for watching.